Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the Tyler Hildebrand weekly press conference. We will start the press conference with an opening statement from head coach Tyler Hildebrand. Then we will welcome questions from the media.
Thanks, Lindy. It was a good week for our women. We got, as we said last week, we got a lot of new girls, a lot of new coaches. We're trying to find a way to figure out our systems and how to compete together. So the biggest takeaway from the weekend is that we can compete and we can fight. We didn't play clean volleyball the whole weekend. We played 2 very physical teams, Oregon State and Oregon, and a really solid, well-coached team in Portland State. And like I said, we didn't play clean volleyball, but we fought. Being down 0-2 in reverse sweep against Oregon State showed that, the girls are playing for each other. And that's kind of what we learned this weekend, was that maybe we're not all individually tough, but we were pretty tough as a group and able to fight. And that Oregon match was a great match. We would have liked to, have a few inches on Morgan's Bick and, a tape ace back. But, being able to compete against that team, which has, I don't know how many of their girls returning, I think 6 of them returning, and they're very, very physical, and they passed really well. So for us to be, having a match point side out, we thought was, we're taking a win out of that in terms of our progression on the season. So all in all, we thought it was a good weekend.
Good afternoon, Coach. So following that Oregon State win, how were you all able to adjust mentally and physically going into that Portland State match, as those were back-to-back matches?
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional comeback, I think, in the Oregon State match. The girls dug deep, and so me, it was my first match as a head coach, so it was emotional for me too. And so we didn't have a whole lot of time, so we just got back to the hotel, and we were going to watch Portland State stuff, and we're like, we should just watch kind of how the girls came together. So we picked out highlights from the 4th set. I think we're down 13-20 in the 4th. So it was a pretty great comeback. We wanted them to see some highlights there. And again, we only had like 45 minutes or an hour at the hotel, and then we had to get back on the bus and get to the gym. So in some ways it was kind of nice there wasn't a whole lot of time, because you just had to kind of, okay, now we got to move on. But it was certainly, there was an emotional component to that first match. And so, I don't know, we didn't have any big speeches or anything. It was just like, okay, we got to play Portland now. And we lost the first against Portland, so maybe we were recovering a little bit still. But Portland tested us in a lot of ways. And it was kind of the end of the day. We knew we didn't play very well really all day, even though we came back and beat a good Portland State team. We didn't play very well. So my only comment to the girls in the game, because you could feel everyone like, oh, that was kind of an ugly day. But as I just said, hey, I got a question. Did we go 2-0 today? And they all said, yeah. And so we had a good laugh on that. And so it was a successful day, even though it wasn't pretty volleyball.
Moving on from that, 9 sets on Friday, and you said it wasn't really pretty, but you were able to take what most people would say is the best team of the weekend to 5 sets in Oregon the next day. I mean, 9 sets to get pushing the best team to 5 sets. What do you say was the regroup, the refocus process to get to that point on Saturday?
We, that was 14 sets in a short window, especially with the timings of those matches. It was a little over 24 hours. That was 14 sets. And, Morgan Chacon took 174 swings. So, I think some of our depth showed, because we were able to play some different lineups, and we had JJ and Natalie playing, and Kitty playing both positions, and Cam coming in. We had multiple serving subs, so that probably helped a little bit. So everyone didn't have to play the whole time, but I think Oregon was it was interesting because no one in the country thought we were going to be able to play with that team. I think it's been a while since the Long Beach State team could play with a team of that caliber. And I'll tell you right now, Oregon's better than the 19th team in the country. This is the best team they've had in a while. They've always been physical and talented, but they can pass really well. And they're seasoned, and they've been together for a while. I think they're going to do some big things. So we kind of talked about being an underdog and taking on that role. I think we got a lot of girls coming from different places. They have some scar tissue from different places they've played. That's kind of sometimes why you get in the portal, So we're trying to find how to break that down and have it be a fun environment, have, playing with some joy, and while competing really hard. And it's a lot easier to do that when you think you're the underdog than when you're playing with something to lose. So a lot of these girls, all the girls that come to us, they're here and they feel like they're like, oh, they got to perform and they got something to lose. So we're trying to look at it like we got nothing to lose. I mean, we're not looking to finish 5th or 6th or whatever in the Big West again. We've got to have this idea that we are underdogs. We're the 5th, 4th, 6th team in the conference. We shouldn't be beating these teams. So we should be finding the freedom to play and not playing like we got something to lose. And I think we've kind of found out, which is really a cool thing, like some of the times we're not playing well, it's like the girls don't want to let each other down or they don't want to let our staff down, which is a good thing. Like we care about each other and we're starting to find some love for each other. But we also don't want that to turn in like to the wrong way. So that's kind of our message right now is like we're underdogs and we should be going out there with nothing to lose.
Coach, this week you all are back home. What do you plan to take from the lessons that you had in Portland and apply them to the matches against Boise State and Notre Dame?
We want to take like I said, I've said it a few times, but the fight that we did together, they were really playing for each other. We want to keep that underdog mindset going. I think we can, play with Oregon the way we did. I think proves that we can play with a lot of good teams. And so the challenge is that can we bring that same level of passion to every match we play, that same level of like, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we'll grind it out. And I mean, we hit 270 against Oregon, which is a pretty big number against a team that's very big and very good. So we want to kind of build some momentum offensively because we didn't hit great in the first 2 matches. I think we were 210 or 215 on the weekend, so we were kind of under 200 or so in the first 2. So I think we should be a team that's hitting in the upper 2s, consistently. So we like to build on that. And I told the girls, we're a good volleyball team right now. We need to be a great volleyball team by the end of the year to try to win our conference and maybe do some damage in the tournament if we have the opportunity to do that. So we got to go from good to great. And I think teams that know how to go from good to great take confidence out of last weekend, not the opposite. Like, oh, I wish I had all these points back in the 5th against Oregon, or we shouldn't have gotten down 0-2. Like, we're not trying to dissect all the ththings we did wrong last week, and we're trying to build that. We were in the heat of battle. We were in the moment. We were in the arena, whatever saying you want to come up with. And we were able to hang in there and perform fairly well. So we want to build on that confidence.
You talked about getting into the transfer portal. You've been playing a few of your transfer players. They're homecoming this weekend. And what can you say to them in terms of what this place means, what the Walter Pyramid means, what the fans will mean in the first official game here at home?
Well, our first goal is to bring fans back in this stadium. I mean, it's not to side out, it's not to pass. It's that's our first goal, and our team has been hearing that since I got the job. The day after I got the job, I Zoomed with all of them. And I told them this is our first goal, is to bring people back, and you do that by getting people excited about what you're doing. You got to play good volleyball, but you also got to be, you got to make an effort to invite people. And when we had our donor day, some of this we talked about last week, and our players have been doing that, and our staff has been doing that. So I don't have to say anything to them this week about all of that because they've been hearing it. All the transfers that weren't here in the spring heard it on the recruiting pitch, which was that this place is very special when it comes to the world of volleyball, and we want it to feel special again, and that matters to me as an alum. It matters to all of our alums. Misty texted me over the weekend. Tresonia Thompson was there and got to talk to the girls and meet the girls. We had Danny, so it's been cool to have the alumni start to really get invited back and feel like they're a part of this again, and make an effort to be there. And it was really great to have Tresonia there, and so that's all part of this. So, I'm preaching that to our girls every day, that this is really important to be connected to our alumni, to be connected to our fans. So we'll probably have a little bit of a speech on Thursday about, trying to put on a good show. We all felt that in COVID when there's no fans here. Like why would we even do what we're doing if not to excite people in our community and people that want to support us? So I don't know how many people are going to be there. We may have more people if we would have beat Oregon, but I think there's going to be a pretty good showing, and we hope we play well. And we hope people are excited about what we're doing.
And Coach, you mentioned that Morgan had herself an outstanding tournament. Who are some other standouts from the tournament as you go into Thursday's game?
I mean, the shining light is the team playing together, playing different people. That's first and foremost. I'm not trying to dodge the question, but that really was the takeaway, was that we could play multiple different people, and we didn't win because we played better volleyball during those sets. We won because somehow we were the girls. If you watched the match, well, I guess the other two weren't streamed, but those two matches, Oregon State and Oregon, I mean, the way they were bonding together through that and the bench and everything was pretty cool. I mean, I was really impressed. And we talked about it Friday night. We didn't talk about recap of volleyball. We talked about what they felt out there, and it was all about. I really felt like we were bonding as a group, and so I think that that's the main takeaway. To answer your question, Zaina hasn't played a match because she didn't play as a freshman since I think she won JOs as an 18-year-old or whatever. So I thought she had a great weekend. We're trying to get her to be creative and really have a lot of freedom and not be constrained by a lot of things. And I thought she did that. Dylan played great at Bro. Both Dylan and Savannah played good. Our serving subs were good. Callie hit like 700, and I think she only swung at a couple balls, so that was pretty impressive. She was really creative with her offense. Katie Kennedy playing two positions, and then Cam had a really big match against Oregon. I think she hit 460 or something, and so there you go. I just listed the whole team, but I think the standout was Morgan. I mean, that was I don't know if you guys know numbers, All-American numbers, but that was All-American. She had All-American numbers, and it wasn't like we were playing, Division II teams. We're playing teams that were more physical than us. She was carrying a heavy load, and hopefully it's not Morgan every weekend, but she was. You guys know Brooke Nuneviller. She was second team All-American last year, and they both had I think it was 65 and 66 attempts, and Morgan out hit her, and Morgan hit 260 on the BIC. Morgan had 63 BICs. That's more than most outside hitters will get in a season this year in our conference. And so, and she hit 260 on it, I think it's Morgan had a career high in kills, and so it's good to acknowledge that from Morgan, but we have a lot of girls that can go off like that, but Morgan did a good job.
Not to just pile it onto Morgan, but she is 5'11", and she's not really considered a very tall player at her position. And this team isn't very tall. There is some height, but what would you say to your players, and what do you say to your players that are a little undersized, that do have to go against bigger blocks? I mean, Oregon is pretty big, so how do they attack that? Right.
Well, I tell them if we want to do what we want to do this year, we got to play against people like that. But we don't really talk about size, we talk about volleyball. But the reality is when you play, Oregon State was really big. Oregon State was pretty big. Oregon's really big. Nebraska's going to be, really big. We're trying to work on ways to play the game the right way, or what we feel is the right way. And we don't think big is the right way. We'd all want to be bigger if we could be, but we out-hit them, and we didn't pass nearly as well as them, that usually doesn't happen, that you pass a 2-4, out-hit the bigger team as the smaller team. So that's a sign that we're in the right direction. But you don't have to go over people. You don't have to overpower people. You can be creative. You can move the ball around. You can beat them with speed. You can beat them with stress. Our offense is designed to create stress, not to set somebody a high ball and then have them tee off. And even if we had Oregon size, we'd still run the same offense. But I think what we're trying to do, I think all of our outside hitters, the three that we've played so far, Natalie, Jalen, and Morgan, are all pretty impressive, creative attackers. So they don't have to be big. And so that's not just because of who they are here. It's because when they get to the next level, if they want to play professionally or whatever, they're going to need to do that there too. So that's what we work on.
Thank you, Coach.